Okie doke. So let's import that custom package. Assets, import package, custom package, player controller capsule. There it is. Grab it. Import everything we see here. And then, as Madeline said, it's in our assets. So down here we can see we have some extra folders. We have some extra materials, black, yellow, the two scripts. And then the actual character controller is built as a prefabricated game object collection in our prefabs folder. So to bring it into our game world, we just need to bring the prefab into our scene. You can drag it either into the hierarchy or directly into the scene itself. Either way, it'll be brought into the scene. And it has a camera attached to it. So the second you bring it in, if you press play, it'll say there's more than one camera. We need to have only one camera, one vision in our scene at this point. But yeah, just drag this thing in. There's his little beanie body. I can move him up a little bit. It has eyes. We can customize this as much as we want. I just added some little spheres for eyes. But there he is. If I press play... Oh, wait. It's not giving me an issue. That's strange. Ah, but it's not jumping to the other one. So it's still sticking with my main camera view up here rather than the camera that's behind the player. You can see he's just gotten bumped into and his camera is getting spun around. Now, this is why it's a little bit of a buggy character controller. The slightest little nudge can sometimes send it off. But we'll work with it. Now, two cameras in the scene. I can only have one. I'm going to delete the original main camera. Delete the camera, and now if I press play, I should be able to walk around in my scene. WASD. And Q and E for turning. Oh, and he's knocked. And he's gone.
Your camera turning?
Yep. So you press play, Q and E will turn and the camera is following with a slight bit of damping on it. And the way the script is set up, I can adjust my camera. Oh, actually, before I press play, I can make adjustments to my camera. Let's say I just raise it up. Then once I press play, it's gonna lock and start looking at the player. Anywhere I put this camera, the second I press play, even if it's not looking directly at it, if I go way up, really high, way up. You can see on the right hand side, it's not pointing at the player at all. But in the script, it's being told to always look at the player object. So when I press play, you'll notice this will snap to looking down. Right now, it's looking up, press play, snap to looking down at the player. Bam. And now we have an overhead view, bird's eye.
How do you do that?
So, just select the camera and not the camera and player. So both of them are stored under this one empty. You can just select the camera and move it, raise it up.
Can you jump?
You cannot. We can add that functionality through scripting. Should we add a jump straight away? How do you feel? Should we script right now? Is it scripting time?
Yeah.
Mighty Morphin scripting time? Sure. So yeah, if you want to change the camera, just move it. Select the camera, move it up, raise it. I'm going to raise it a little bit.
So right when it touches an object, the camera starts spinning around.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a feature. It's a feature, yeah. It's a feature. The classic feature. Everyone's really impressed by it. It is because I'm trying to hold him upright at all times using the freeze rotation. Because if I don't, he falls on his back, and then I get other problems. Now he's rolling over.
Poor guy. What are you doing?
But you'll notice the camera doesn't spin like crazy. Oh, it does a little bit. Let's try to figure out where he's looking. There. Let's see. Okay, so I'm just going to clean up my scene a little bit. I've got a lot of boxes and stuff. Just going to store them under an empty.
How did you put all the? You create an empty?
Yep. An empty and then just nest them to it. Just drag them in.
Chairman?
Yep.
Since there is a 3D game, are we using like Vector 3 too?
Yes. Sure. Okay. We should add that jump is what we were saying. All right. Well, let's do a bit of scripting. Let's do the scripting from the notes, and then we'll add a jump. So let's turn a light on and off, basically. So first, just as a test, I'm going to make a function to hold this script, or a script to hold this function. So in Unity, I'm going to make a folder for scripts just by right-clicking. Create folder in my assets. And that'll be called scripts. Empty folder called scripts. And we can just drag those two scripts we have in there right now, actually. Next, I'm going to create an empty in my scene, and this empty game object is going to be the game object, the golem that's holding the script. So a new empty. I'll call it light switcher.
Switcher?
Light switcher. Just an empty called light switcher. Love it. Love it. Keeps me humble. We're looking at all this technology and I'm like, the open plane. Alright. So, you see it's an empty game object because it only has one component, the transform component. So we can know where it is in the scene. Where it actually is in the scene, it's invisible, but it's right here, floating in space. If we want to track its position, we want to see it in the world even though it's an empty, and not see it in the game, we can add an icon to it. So in the inspector, this little drop down, if we want to be able to see that empty, just pick an icon and it'll be visible only in the scene view, not in the game view. There we go, light switcher. So now I can see where it is in the world, even when it's not selected. On the light switcher, we want to add a script component. So we'll add component. And down the bottom, select new script. And we can call it light switcher. Light switcher. And then just click create and add. It'll take a minute to initialize. And there we go, we can see our script. And by default, Unity is going to put that mono behavior stuff. It's going to create the script syntax ready to code. As we'll see, it's created light switcher in our assets. So we could drag that into our scripts whenever we want. For now, let's open up light switcher either by double clicking on it down here or double clicking on it on the light switcher itself. We can just double click up here. And it'll open it up in your default code editor, Visual Studio, if you set it up that way.
always inherits from mono behavior.
Yes, unless we tell it not.
Alright, so mono behavior is, what is it, the base class scripts derived from mono behavior. It doesn't say much. It's like,
Right.
mono behavior is a base class that many Unity scripts derive from mono behavior.
Yes.
I think.
It's not just in Unity mono behavior is used elsewhere, but mono behavior stores all the stuff that is Unity specific. So all that input, get key down stuff, that is
Okay, yeah.
specific to
Yeah.
Unity.
Yeah.
They're already made kind of ways of, and the get component stuff, accessing components, it's just Unity based.
Yeah.
So that's Unity's mono behavior, but I think does Unreal use mono behavior? It uses C.
You could put it, sorry?
Does Unreal use mono behavior? You know,
Sorry?
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Monotype, mono behavior.
You could put like,
Unreal? Does anyone use Unreal?
I don't know.
I don't know. I reckon know what they're doing. Let's wait a few minutes.
Is there like, I know it's kind of new, but is there, I haven't played games unless it's Minecraft, that's different. But when Unreal, do they create like PC games or is it like console games?
Console games.
Console
Yeah.
games.
And TV, it's used in like TV and film a lot as well. Like The Mandalorian create all their 3D environments in Unreal so they can film in real VR. Yeah. So Unreal is a little bit more powerful but harder to learn than Unity, I would say. Difficulty level is huge. Now, where is my script? Let's try that again. Light switcher. Open it up. There we go. Script has been initialized. So you should see something like this. Your class deriving from mono behavior, our start method, and our update. So first thing we need is our variable to hold our light. I'll make it public. Public. My light. Oh, but I've done it wrong. I've given the variable name, but I haven't declared the type. I need to say this is a public light. My light. And then the start method we won't need, so I'm just going to delete this. We're just going to use the update to change the light from on to off. With an if statement, if, open and close curly brackets. We know it's going to say my light dot enabled is equal to not my light dot enabled. So same as CSS rules, everything ends with a semicolon. Semicolon rules. And then here we need to add our command to say what key we're pressing to change the light on or off. If input dot get key down key code. Oh, and I'm getting autocomplete. That's nice. And I'll just say L because I want to use space for our jump. So key code L. Oh yeah, and I need an extra. And there is our entire script. Variables up here. Update happening once a frame, and it's checking for get key down just when we press it down. I'm looking for the key code of L. And you can pick any letter that you want, really. Most of the letters are just the capital version, so if it's W, key code W, and then things like space are written like that. Space, up arrow, things like that. But I'm going to say L. You also notice there is a comment left here saying update is called once per frame. This is how we leave one line comments in C#. So I can say this is my variable. And I can say, oh, if light is on, turn off. If off, turn on. I can leave code, little comments about what's happening in my script to refer to later. Or I can make little headings, like this is my input section, this is my variable section, this is referring to that. Good practice for when you need to look back on stuff later and you need to remember what the hell anything does. So back in Unity, if everyone has this script, I'm going to jump back. I mean, it's in the notes anyway. So I've saved this. If I jump back to Unity, you see my script has been saved because I can see the preview. There it is. It's fine. If I select my light switcher again, you'll see now it has a slot in it for light, public variable, my light, and it's looking for me to assign a light from my scene to be in there. So right now if I press play and press L, nothing's going to happen. No light going on or off. And that's because, and it's telling me right now, so keep an eye on red messages. Uh-oh. Keep an eye on red messages down here. These are error messages. They're letting you know something is wrong. So here, unassigned reference, the variable myLight of light switcher has not been assigned. So it's telling me I set up a variable, but I didn't assign anything to it, and that's bad. And they're right, because it's not turning that light on or off. So two ways we can assign that. We can either just drag a light from our scene. I have a directional light. I can drag that straight into my light switcher. Just drag it straight across. Or these, you might see this little dot next to everything. This is our selector dot. If we click that, it opens up a little search thing, and we can search through our scene and find the object we're looking for. So here, I can search, but since I only have one light in my scene, it's very easy to find. So little selector dot, and then pick. And now, because our golem object has its magic words, we can press play. Magic words. And with the press of L, the light is off. The light is on. The light is off. The light is on.
Is there a way to do the scripting without going to the Visual Studio, just inside Unity?
No.
No?
No. Unless we're using the code blocks, the visual node thing, which is a separate thing.
Seamus, can
Yeah.
you go back to the script for a second,
Yeah.
please?
So yeah, capital for type, semicolon at the end of every line. Oh, and another feature of Unity which is quite nice. If I forget a semicolon or something, like here, I've made my code wrong, and I go back to Unity, Unity will tell me what line of my code there is an error on. So right here you can see there is an error. I put it there by on purpose.
No, my light's not.
Right down here, in my error message, I can click on it, and it's saying Semicolon expected on line 15 out of 47. If I double click on this error message, it's going to jump directly to that line in the script. I can just look myself and say line 15 is here. There is the error problem.
Save it. No, but you save it to the
Everything okay?
no, right, it's there, yeah. Everything working right? No, I know.
Really fast.
Click the,
Let's see.
click the, your light switch.
Yeah, but that could just be your version. But that's 2019. Yeah. Studio. But it's not giving you an error message.
Create a new one. Create one.
Yeah. It's only line by line. There it's fine. Semicolon there, and then you can open, close, another void, and then the brackets there. Now, in Unity, have you
Or
assigned
maybe you
like,
can just,
Okay.
okay, you can just see if you can drop there. That one, there, on the line. On the line.
when you press play, when you press L, when you press play?
Oh, okay.
Because you set it to key code L, which is the L key, it is working.
Oh, no, you don't have to say
Yeah. Fine,
Right
sir.
there. Everything okay, guys?
You don't have to say
All good. If I can help with press play.
Mine is working, just showing some change.
Again, press play.
But it's working.
Oh, variable time to follow time. You're talking about.
Because you're adding it while,
Targeting the player.
you're adding it, you're doing everything while you're on here. So do it again.
Well, if it's not,
So no, don't put pause.
on the character.
Because if you put pause, then the game keeps playing, but you won't be able to play when you play.
What are these?
That's all.
I don't know, it's working.
Good morning. I was the PPS number.
That's good.
Goddamn government. Okay, I'm just going to stop this recording here rather than have a lot of dead air.